And Mike Cooley. It wouldn't be no Thug Life album if it wasn't for Man and Babez.
What up, though? This your boy DOC. Now, I've been getting a lot of text messages, DMs of people that's been sending me this video of that they wanted to know the truth behind the Tupac and the Marin City situation. You know, the movie just dropped, and people know that I got contact with some people from that era that was dealing with Tupac directly, that was at that situation in Marin City. So we're going to put out the real truth, not just some Googleable shit that we seen off of Thug Immortal documentary or anything like that. We're going to put out some real truth from someone that was directly there. So what up, though? This DOC. I got Babez on the line. Now, you guys know I did an interview with him not too long ago. He was around he was actually one of the individuals that funded I believe it was a Tupacalypse Now or Thug Life, and Big Sight gave him and Mans a big shout out. One thing that we wanted to discuss today was putting out the real story of the beef between Tupac and Marin City. So, can you tell us what really started the beef between Tupac and the whole Marin City era?
Well, man, I mean, I went and seen the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just miraculous how, it was traced around the truth, right? And I was like, that just rings. It rings so familiar. And then I had to look at Malky. Idi Amin, he was actually in the movie, and he was right there, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was traced around the truth, but for obvious reasons, details were left out, or
right,
for the sake of the innocent or the guilty. But yeah, and I would like to away from the benefit of all the controversial seekers, and to the true dudes I know, you know what I mean, and to my own self, you know what I mean, just the gain humility, you know what I mean. Okay, back then I was a younger dude. You know what I mean? And I was going through some adverse situations. And when we went over there, it was like, those dudes, they weren't from Oakland. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. It was traced around the truth, but which that doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
But they were from Richmond. They were actually Man's little brother. Man's little brother and his partners. I mean, it was actually the group that Pac had, the Have-Nots. If you ever hear a mention of the Have-Nots, mm-hmm. It was actually that group and also the Outlaws. And he was like combining, Thug Life, from the ground up. So, yeah, I would just like to take anything, if anyone felt, any slight from me, because I know I was young back then. They were young back then. And, and it's actually awesome real individuals there that I happen to know. You know what I mean? But, me and them, we understand me, so I ain't going to even understand me. You know what I mean?
So when y'all went to the park, was the park situation is what caused the whole beef? I remember in our interview before you had spoke about it was a situation with a girl. Like, we're trying to figure out, like, what was the real problem that even led to that situation happening at the park? Was it the beef with the girl over the phone situation, or?
Well, you see, as I was saying before, and me, my own self know, the experience, if you're in someone else's neighborhood, per se, or you're not from that neighborhood or whatever, you're not involved in what's going on in that neighborhood, you're kind of like, like skimming, you're kind of, you're not paying attention to what's going on. So, you're not included. So you don't include them of what you got going on. You know what I mean? And that's how Pac was. He was, he had a masterpiece going on. He had, his own career, and I mean, they never included him. He never gang bang, however they call it, whatever. So when we stepped up there, and actually it was Frankie Beverly, the singer. Frankie Beverly was performing in Marin City, and we came through there, and as they said, it was people from Richmond that was one of my close partners from Richmond that was actually he hanged out over there in Marin City, and he kind of like tripped out. Over there, but nevertheless, it was, they stepped up, the guy stepped up and said, yeah, you don't claim the jungle no more. And next thing you know, I was way out drunk, People people that know me can imagine what I'm talking about. And I was like charged and, you know, so yeah, I was tripping. Next thing I know, one of the dudes reached, and that man stepped up and said, "What's going on?" And they were like, "We don't want them with y'all, man. We don't want them with y'all, man, because they know us from, you know, from Mike Cooley. They know us from, you know, from Richmond, you know, and you know, we all from one gutter. You know what I mean?
Right.
We all from one gutter, man. I had to first recognize that. You know, they go through their demographical things, and you know, over there in the jungle. You know what I mean? Of course, they may not, you know, go through the same things we go through, but, you know, they go through things. But, yeah, you know, dude was like, yeah, so you don't claim the jungle no more. And then Pac was like, you know, man, hold on. And, you know, because Pac didn't know how to be a part of that. Because, hold on, I don't, you know, I never claimed the jungle. You know, just because, I think it was 115 or whatever their little group, he didn't really want to promote them. You know what I mean? He know what type of attitudes them dudes had. He can do without that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So therefore, he, you know, he chose to ride with some real, you know, some dudes he, you know, considered, you know, he can feel.
So that was like basically because of the, so basically because since he didn't want to promote their group, did he feel like he got disowned from Marin City, or he just wanted to leave Marin City alone, or what caused him not to want to deal with Marin City no more?
Well, you see, he wasn't the same type of dude them dudes was. You know what I mean? For one thing, his spirit was a whole nother spirit. I mean, you know what I mean? Those guys never have family. It's like family orientated in there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like generations in there. So, you know, like I said, the whole park turned on us. All those was family, you know what I mean? And it was so much of a trip was, I knew a guy from Richmond that's a part of that family, and he even chased us. It was crazy, you know what I mean? It was crazy, but yeah, they wanted him to, you know, push 11.5 or 5150 or whatever they were called, and you know, he was like, shoot, all I was, you know, just temporary arrangements. You know what I mean? Me passing through, I'm just passing through Marin City, and that's how y'all treated me. You know what I mean? Every time I turned around, you know what I mean? And then, you know, when his mom left him and went back to New York, you know, Mike Cooley started noticing that these dudes, you know, hold on, these dudes punking pot. You know, hold on, you know, because, you know, Mike Cooley wasn't that type of dude. Like, Mike Cooley from Richmond. So, you know, it ain't no fun in punking up, you know, somebody, you know, who ain't got no, you know, there ain't no fun in that. So, I mean, he wasn't that type of dude anyway. So, Mike Cooley said, look, man, come mess with me. You know what I mean? Come mess with me, man, I got you. So, Mike Cooley, like, man, you know, these niggas, you know, these dudes knew what time it was. You know what I mean? They respected Mike Cooley. Not so much out of fear. I don't want to even go there like he was some, you know, hellified dude or anything like that. But, you know, they respected it. So, in one of Pac's songs, he even says, like, you ain't finna slang crack. You a rapper, dude. He was talking about Mike Cooley. So, it was called Ain't Got Nothing But Love For You. I don't know if it ever came out. But, yeah, Mike Cooley took him, and then that's when the Underground Railroad started. You know what I mean? The dudes, like, laid off Pac because they knew, you know, it would cause a hell of a situation. Right. And, so that's, like I said, that's when it all, like, began. You know what I mean? And the dudes, like, kind of laid off Pac. So when he showed up and they happened to know that Mike Cooley was in, you know, in the situation he was in at that time, you know, around that time, he couldn't get out. You know, he was trapped. Right. You know what I mean? And so I guess they felt like there was an opportune time to, you know, push whatever went down. You know what I mean? Like I said, back then, but I may have had a different spirit. You know what I mean? So I had to really reiterate that. You know what I mean? Before, you know, anyone take that any kind of way, and you know, so you know how things get. Right. So yeah, I'm a grown ass man now. So yeah, that's what that is.
So what was your overall, you know, perspective after seeing the movie? Like, what did you like it?
Man, that movie was a complete spoof. Do you hear me, man? I mean, like, in living color, you hear me? They could have did that, man, better. I mean, and it'll rain more truth, probably more, you know what I mean? For real. Because, I mean, wow.
What, just the way they made the timeline or?
The time, I mean, it was just totally the timeline, the nature of him and Jada's relationship. Because, I mean, you know how when your partner, you know your partner and the surroundings of everything that go down with him, you know what I mean? And that's what he was to me, man. He was my real folks. Right. You know what I mean? Seriously. So, yeah, man. that part of it, like as if they were, no, it wasn't even a hint, you know what I mean, in that movie.
Right.
The Tupac's character, man. That dude, I mean, I knew the dude I went to the movie with looked more like Tupac than dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the attitude they gave Pac was like some, happy-go-lucky, free willy dude, man. Pac was just like he said, he was a soldier, man. And all the time in his mind roaming around, man, he always had stay ready. Like, stay ready to keep him getting ready. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just stay ready to keep him getting ready. And, with guns, like the AK, when he got the bread, he bought all the guns, the mini 14s, just stay ready, man, because they coming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just a trip, man.
Do you think they should have elaborated more on his, like, revolutionary side? That's what I was seeing a lot of people in my comment section.
Well, man, that's my target. And my project, man, and Friend Like Me, I plan on really touching a lot of points. I mean, wow, I can open up a plethora of interest, because I knew the spirit, you know what I mean? I knew the actions. I know where they derive from. It's just a trip. I've been involved in just so much, man, with Pac,
Yeah.
Really. And yeah, man. Sometimes it hurts me to even think about it, man.
For anybody that haven't seen the movie, would you recommend for them to go see it, or wait till maybe some other projects wait till your project or someone else's project come out, you know what I'm saying, to get the real truth?
Well, I mean, Tupac was a major icon. So, of course, everyone's want to go take a look, to get their opinion, see if, it's actually good to them, I mean, this project is coming out. I would say that that's just a setup for what's the truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's three stories. I mean, but one's the truth. Mine's the truth. I was there. I was, through just a lot of the Thug Life era from anywhere from 91 to 94. That was me. I can say, 90 actually. I can even speak in about 90 when I wasn't even with the crew yet.
Right.
When I was on the outside looking in.
Because that was my whole thing as far as, and like even when I did my review of the movie, I didn't like 100% bash it, because I know you got like 90s babies and 2000 babies that's going to go, and they might not know the history. Like I'm still from the outside looking in. I don't 100% know. I was born in 81, so I'm from Detroit looking at certain stuff. So some of that, I'm thinking when they telling the story, tomorrow's going to be the untold story, everything that was in there was basically like, to me, like highlighting what people already somewhat knew about them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, that movie was so false, right? Mm-hmm. Where, as I said, like when I seen truth ring into it, I was I was like surprised, like, wow, how they know? How? Then I looked at Malky. Then I looked at Malky on there. I'm like, oh, okay, dang, Malky was right there. Katari, Malky, and Yav. They all were right there. So of course, he illustrated. And that part of it was kind of great, but it was just traced around it.
So, through that 2.5 hour movie, what things? Because, like we said, Jada Pinkett ended up coming out saying her part about the movie wasn't real. It wasn't.
No,
true.
It wasn't.
What about the movie, from your eyes of being around Pac, was really true?
The only truth that rang was the Marin city. Like when we showed up, like you see when I don't know if you've seen it already. So when we walked in, and the dudes walked up, that right there, that scene right there was the only thing. Everything else, I mean, all the, Jada Pinkett, I mean, it was really redundant, Yeah. It was really redundant, man. A lot of redundancy in there, so.
Well, I hope at some point in time, the real story, at least for the real family members and friends like yourself, you know, get the real story out, and for the real fans to really get some justice as far as legacy. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I'm campaigning for a documentary, you know, or something of that nature, you know, because I have to get the real gist, you know what I mean, of it out, man. Because that right there was just made him look like some, you know, wow, some whistling really Dixie fool, you know what I mean? Right. I couldn't appreciate that, man. I know he couldn't.
And
so, you know.
Because to be honest, me, like I said, from the outside looking in, that era of Tupac back in the Richmond days, the Marin city around Oakland, to me, that's the part that I really want to see instead of just highlighting on that last year and a half. Because the last year and a half, of course, even if people wasn't there, we pretty much know what happened after signing the Suge or whatever. Even though we wasn't there, we don't 100% know, but we pretty much know. It's like that back part of the Richmond, Marin City, and Oakland area. To me, that's the part we really want to see, because from his interviews, he always would say, "This is where I got my game from." So, you know what I'm saying? So that's the part, like, when he say that, we want to know, like, okay, what did he experience? What did he go through to make him say, "This is where I really got my game from"?
Okay, he was speaking in terms of Oakland when he said, "This is where I got my game from." Right. You hear me? All right, I'm going to point this out. All right, just like, why didn't I get mad when he didn't mention Richmond? I mean, he mentioned my name in you know, in some tracks, but he didn't mention Richmond. I'm not all banged out like that. You know, oh well, you know. And I know he just passed through Richmond, the same as he did Marin City, but they reacted to it because they had their attitude. That's how they're built. You know what I mean? They felt as though they had something coming, at least because he came through there and he said that on the source or whatever. I mean, they could have shook that off, man. I mean, I'm quite sure now. As I seen the video, the guy speaking on the situation. I mean, he was a stand-up dude. You know what I mean? I can commend him on what the truth he knew.
Right.
You know, but yeah, it was wow, man.
Well,
it hurts me to even think of it sometime, man.
Yeah. Well, we definitely will keep everybody over here at DocHicksTv updated once you get done with your book or documentary. You know what I'm saying? So people can come check that out.
Yeah, it's in construction right now, man. It's in construction. Yeah. You know, I got a few down dudes, homegrown dudes with me. You know what I mean? That know my perspective, and they shooting for me. That we having progress. You know what I mean? We're just in the grassroots.
Yeah, definitely. Because I was seeing a lot of people in the comment section of that interview, the first interview we did. They was like, "Man, babes, you got to go ahead and put out that book, this and that, blah blah blah." So I'm guessing they must personally know you or know you from that time, or people was like, "Oh, I remember him from such and such video, this and that." So that's why when all the movie came out, that's why I had to reach back out to you, because I'm like, I want to get his perspective, since I know for a fact he was there, instead of just all the guessing and wishing from just people that think they know what's going on. I prefer to talk directly to somebody. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I have, I'm saving it for my, for my thesis, but I have some real game for that, for what's missing in that movie.
Right. Definitely.
I got some real game for that. I'm gonna bring out my whole, my creative mind, my left brain and my right brain.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.